Okay, so this video will discuss how to download video from a Milestone Smart Clients station. So I have connected to our system here in our office, and I'm in live view right now. So we are looking at the actual office. So if I go to playback, I hit the playback, and this comes up. So what's happening is I'm looking at the screen where I have 4 cameras, and one on the top left is selected right now. So our system, just like many of the ones that we have out there, record on motion only. So if you look at the bottom of the page here, what you're looking at is all cameras in views, which means there is motion at some point where everywhere where this red bar is there in one of these cameras, but the camera that's selected is shows in the top bar, which means the top bar it shows red whenever motion was detected at our front door right here. Now, one thing that you should know is on this bar right here, where it says 10 minutes here, that represents the length of this bar that you see there. So if I make this 20 minutes or an hour, then this bar represents that. It's very important to make sure that this is a reasonable number when downloading video. In other words, I don't want to be looking for a video that's 5 minutes long on a bar that can go up to 2 weeks. So if I'm looking at 10 minutes, it'll be impossible to see it. So if you're looking, for example, for a video, as I said, 10 minutes long, I probably want this to be about an hour. Now, assuming that I know what the time frame is, I can go ahead and select it here on a time selection mode. So this is which comes up as a 15 minutes pool, and I can move these throughout the video. This is assuming I was doing a search and I wanted to particularly see a thing, and I know what it is, and I can then narrow it down to something very specific. I could also just go in here and click this button, and then that will be able to place a date and the time frame exactly as I wanted it. I'm going to leave this here for the purpose of our showing. And if you notice these check marks, these indicate whether when I'm going to export this, I'm going to export just the one camera and select it, or all of the ones that have a check mark. Now I'm going to go and select this camera. It looks at the street, so there's likely something on it. And I'm going to make this a smaller time frame. So if I press play right now, this will be live. This here is the speed of the recording, so I can make this go faster or slower. So I can make this go half speed, quarter speed, to catch maybe a possible screenshot of the picture. I can also pause it. I can go back in time. This will move it to the next available recorded time frame. This will go to the last sequence that there was ever recorded. This is the first sequence that was ever recorded. This is frame by frame. If I now have identified this part as something that needs to be recorded and exported, I can now go here and export this thing. So I click exporting, and there is a name here to enter. So I'm going to call these test for instruction. I can add an item here. I had nothing selected here. If you notice, there was no check mark here on top right, so it doesn't know which camera. So I'm gonna cancel, select this item, and then add it to the exporting list. And now it shows up right there. I can add cameras right here. I just find it easier to add cameras right there. When you look at this is how it comes up by default, right? So this is the location where the file will be exported. We had downloaded something for the NYPD, so that's the last thing it remembers. I have a storage drive on my computer. I'm going to make a new folder, and I can make these instruction videos, right? And I can save it, and it will be there that the file gets exported. Format. So I want to always include the export format. It's a good practice. Export format is what you just saw here. And I want to include the player, so this thing within it. I don't need to add a digital signature. I could, if I want to prevent this to be re-exported from the player, and I could encrypt it with a password if I wanted to. If I have to, when I click Start Export, I will be asked for a password. That's the password we are setting for the video to be reviewed. The media player format is because when this gets exported, it gets exported in what's called a Milestone database format, which requires the Milestone player to be played back. If I have this option selected, then the file will download in any format I selected. I like the MKV. This way the file gets to be of a reasonable size, and also it gets to be played into any Windows Explorer, any Windows Media Player, any video player out there can probably play an NKV file. For the purpose of this video, we're going to take this off altogether because most times we don't need it. And this is it. I can go and do a start export now. So up here on the top right, the file is going to export. I'm going to open my Windows Explorer now so that we can go ahead and see under the D drive. I think it just came in as new folder at this point. So there it is. This is my test for instruction. And as soon as it's finished, we'll be able to go see that file. But the system itself also gives you an option that if you click on details right here, right, the file comes up, and I just click on that and it came up here. Now, if I want to transfer this to a USB key, first of all, it's very important not to download directly on USB key, because the USB key may not have a chip fast enough to get the video as it is downloaded. But we can transfer it from here to somewhere else. When you transfer it, it's important you don't just try to look for a video file, but you transfer the entire folder. So I have entered a USB drive. It's right there. So it's this one right here. So I can literally just take this whole thing, move it over to my USB drive. Okay, it happens to be that this one is too small for the video that we have put in there. But yeah, essentially, I'll just move it all over. And then once it's done and the transfer is completed, you can now take that USB drive, put it anywhere you'd like, meaning any computer. And when you open it, look just like this. And what you do is you double click on the Smart Client Player. And when you do that, a instance of that player opens up on your computer. It's currently opening up on mine, and it's right here. And because it's in the same folder and it's got all the necessary data, opens up the file that we have downloaded before. So I can make, again, see, this window is now 2 hours long, so this looks very small. I can make this 10 minutes long, and now I can move it and see it, and I can play it, and I can do anything I want. So this is the proper way to do this download. I hope this is clear and helps you all out when you try to download video from Milestone.